Hello once again, my name is Sheri Shereni and I'm on a journey to help us and to help you maximize your potential, to get you to that place of contentment, to that place of fulfillment, inner fulfillment. And the way you know you have arrived at that inner fulfillment is when you know this is it. I'm in my element. If you have ever said that, I want you to have more of that. Life should be lived in such a way that you are always in your element. You feel I'm in my element. I am really doing the things that I feel energized to do in any setting I may find myself in. It's quite a long journey for you to get to that, to understand that. But if you keep following these episodes, you will come to a certain realization of that will bring you to your element. But today I want to talk to you about something that is mostly a distraction to many people. Because, you know, like the force of gravity, there's always a pull towards the ground. If you try to get up, unless you engage in a higher law, which is the law of lift, gravity will always put you down. And even if you engage in the law of lift like aeroplanes do, you have to keep moving. If you stand at one place, the force of gravity you risk being pulled down again. So a lot of you are not so much pulled down by the force of gravity, but by the limitations imposed upon you by stereotypes, by traditions, by cultures, by limited beliefs of other people, by the failures of other people, by the limited capacity to envision bigger things of other people. And I dare say, for those of us who are from Africa, probably beyond as well, by superstition. There's a lot around superstition that limits you, that says it can't be done. It's not done that way, and you don't question it, you just conform. You just flow with the tide. But here is one ingredient that will help you to start to bust that myth. Whenever a limitation comes upon you, you know, especially for us as women, and I say especially for us as women because I'm one, and I've faced a lot of limitations. I mean, we grew up in a society when women were not allowed to own property. And the societal attitudes at that time did not see a woman in the right way if you owned property. But I had to come to a so says who of my own. Who says I can't? Who says I can't? So that is the question that you have to ask yourself. Who says you can't? So says who? You can't do this. It has never been done in our family. Nobody has ever lived before beyond this age. Nobody has ever done this. It can never be done. It can't. It can't. So says who? And many of you are stuck in the grade 2, grade 3 types of maths division where our teachers would say if you get to divide 7 by 2 and they say it can't simply because it's not an even number. It couldn't at that moment in time because you had not yet grown enough to imagine how you can divide and have fractions. But it can be done. You can still divide an odd number with an even number. So if you get to a point where you say to yourself, who says I can't? And if you answer yourself and says, I say I can't, then it can't. You know, Henry Ford said, if you say you can do it, you can. If you say you cannot do it, you can't. It's as simple as that. Learn to defy things that keep you at a certain lead, at a certain limitation, by saying, who says I can't? Just get that defiance, that rule-breaking attitude, a rule-breaker attitude to say it can be done. It is possible. I can take you to court. I can do this. I can do this. The moment you begin to say, I can, it feeds an appetite to find out who else has done something similar. What are the limitations around this? What can be changed about the limitations? It gets you into that innovative space. It gets you into that discovery place. It gets you into that place of curiosity. And curiosity is a mother of invention. It's a mother of innovativeness. If you are not curious, if you are not desirous, if you are just one person who likes to be content, I'm talking about contentment, which is a good place to be. But there's also a negative contentment where you are just satisfied with the status quo and you don't want to move beyond it. That's not the contentment that I'm talking about. But I'm talking about a contentment that spurs you to do more because you have accomplished something that you thought you could never do. So they tell you, you can't get this degree. Who says you can't? It needs a lot of money. Who says degrees are written by money? Degrees are written by somebody sitting on a desk and writing an examination, sitting behind a computer and writing an examination. Because many times we limit ourselves because we think money is the answer to everything. Money is a means to an end, but there are many other ways to get to that end without you having to fork out money out of your bank account or out of your proverbial pocket. So who says I can't? I remember somebody said, you can't build a house in this type of environment. And at that time, my salary, the combined salaries, both mine and my husband's, were not enough to be able to build the size of a house that we had put down on paper. But I still wanted to build that house. And I said, you know what? Houses are not built by money. How many of you have ever seen $100 bills stacked up with cement on the building? Houses are built by bricks. And I began to desire that somebody can donate some bricks to me, can give me bricks. And I had people who said, I was building and I have excess bricks. If you have transport, come and get them. And I went and got them. Just because I desired that I can build a double-story house. I wanted it so much. We ended up having it. Did it take us long? Of course it did, but it could be done. I proved to myself that I can do it. And if I can do it, like we say in Zimbabwe, you can do it too. So who says you can't? Don't take the limitations of other people and place them on you. Don't take the failures of other people and think just because so and so failed, then I must fail. Does it mean it will be easy? Not necessarily. But it not being easy doesn't mean it can't be done. It can be done. I desired so much to take my children to Disney World that we did it more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times. And at the 4th time, there was Virgin Active in South Africa, which was giving an incentive to young people to come to the gym. And one of the incentives was that if you enroll into the gym, you stand a chance to win a trip to Disney World. And I remember my daughter saying, that's not an incentive for me because I had proved to myself that it can be done. Who says it can be done? The only person who will say to you it can be done is you. But let me tell you, the moment you engage in an it can be done, there is a force, there is a drive, there is a push, there is an energy that comes from within you that sees no barrier. It's the kind of force which, when I read in my Bible, it says you can leap over a wall, you can run through troops. It sees no barrier. It sees no hindrance. You remain so focused that things give way. Nature has a way of giving way to people who are so focused on an it can be done mission. For those who say it can be done, barriers are erected and you become so small in the size of your barrier because you are now reduced. You look like an ant crawling at the bottom of a skyscraper. But the moment you engage and it can be done, you begin to rise up. And if you have been in an aeroplane, as you rise up, you realize that even a skyscraper, even a whole city feels like you can crush it under the palm of your feet. It becomes so small. You scale heights of perception. You scale heights of perspective. And that's important for you to have a certain perspective in life, a certain better perspective, bigger perspective, higher perspective. For me, the moment they say it can be done, then I want to prove that it can be done. And I remember feeding one of these passions. I used to work for a central bank, and you know, central banks are shrouded in a lot of secrecy and confidentiality. So many times an envelope would be stamped or a file would be stamped confidential and so forth. You know, those secret stamps that are there. The moment they did that, I wanted to look at it. Something in me said, why can't I see it? What's so secretive about it? Something in me just refused to conform to it. I wanted to see it until I said to my boss, you know what? If there is anyone like me, if you really want this thing to remain confidential, don't even stamp it confidential. Nobody will have the appetite to want to look at it, but have that appetite to say, who says it can be done? If you are saying it can be done, then we can't help you. But if there is something in you that echoes and says, you know what? I'm beginning to feel that I can do it. Yes, you can. You can do it. It can be done. So always respond and say, so says who. And that who should never be you. As long as it is not you, it can be done. So I want to challenge you. What has been limiting you? What has been containing you? What has been keeping you at the realm of average? I want to see you at the top. The bottom is overcrowded. We'll meet in the next episode.